Welcome everyone to the first episode of the Experiment Floor. Here, we will be examining the different weapons and upgrades that have been found and used by bounty hunters like the Hunter in the known galaxy. It is here that we will be analyzing the function and operations that fuel the most powerful of these objects as they are applied to not just the Hunter, but to anyone that can find a way to freely utilize them as well. Today, as part of our first examination episode, we will be joined by Chief Archaeologist Akoko as we examine some of the basic armor suits known to be possessed by the Hunter, namely the Chozo Power Suit, the Zero Suit, the Legendary Powered Suit, the Fusion Suit, and lastly, the Omega Suit. The Chozo Power Suit is the most basic of the suit types that has been worn by the Hunter, and was the very first true suit that she actually acquired, being gifted to her during her teenage years among the Chozo. The suit the Hunter wears was custom designed by Mother Brain originally in order to fit the Hunter's human frame, but most of the technology behind the suit can be attributed to the Chozo engineer Drin. The Chozo Power Suit was originally designed for use only by the Chozo, and as a result, it takes superhuman levels of concentration and mental determination to operate. The Hunter is the only human known to be able to wield this type of suit, as a result of her many years of training with the Chozo, and even then it has been known to fail on occasions when she is unable to maintain a stable emotional state, so its adaptation for use by humans has still proven to be not as reliable as it could be. The Chozo Power Suit possesses 3 different layers, each with its own unique distinct purpose. The lowest layer is the Zero Suit, and while technically it's an entirely separate suit on its own, it is still counted here as its presence is required in order for the other 2 layers to be applied. The next layer is a semi-organic layer that is flexible and enables the wearer to move their entire body without any serious limitations. In essence, it is the musculature of the power suit, and it bonds with the muscles of the wielder when active to amplify the overall strength and capacity to move any and all equipment attached to the armor suit. This flexible layer is not only the piece that the final layer connects to, but is the most important layer of them all, as this layer is directly connected to the nervous system of the wearer and is responsible for enabling the wearer to activate and deactivate the suit at any time. The final layer of armor is a semi-flexible metallic outer shell that sits on the very top and serves as the main conduit that takes the energy tank storage that powers the Zero Suit and projects it as an energy shield that acts as a defensive module for the suit. As the wearer takes damage, this energy shield absorbs the impact of the blow and redistributes it around the wearer to reduce its damage concentration, though doing so reduces the amount of energy the suit has available to sustain the shield. Once the energy is gone, the suit will be unable to maintain its form and will dematerialize, leaving the wearer completely exposed. As far as weapon systems are concerned, outside of its modular components, the basic Chozo Power Suit comes with an arm cannon attached to the more dominant arm of the wearer, and can be used to fire a variety of different weapon types in order to attack and damage anything that would dare to attack the possessor, providing at least some offensive power even in its weakest complete state. The suit itself cannot normally be physically removed, as it is summoned through an advanced series of matter-energy converters that can take stored energy in the Zero Suit and use it to materialize the suit in physical form, but will only do so when the right individual is wearing a Zero Suit, as said suit is directly bonded with the genetics of the wearer and will never leave them under normal circumstances. However, it has been observed the suit can be removed either through extreme trauma to it and the Zero Suit, or surgically, but this is a risky proposition since the middle layer of the power suit is directly connected to the nervous system of the wearer as already mentioned. On the other hand, it has been observed that the outer layer of the suit can be modified without compromising the wearer and the other 2 suit layers, as was the case when the Galactic Federation installed a PED device into the fully powered suit of the Hunter during the beginning of the Phazon Crisis. The Chozo Power Suit is modular in function and has the ability to adapt and utilize many different weapons and items that are otherwise impossible for non-Chozo armors to obtain and properly replicate. However, the original Power Suit was somewhat limited in its design, in that it could only operate and use Chozo-based upgrades and was unable to function with more ancient items, possibly because such items were so powerful that they seemed to be out of place in a more peaceful modern universe. Peaceful in terms of being made prior to the Hunter Zero mission, mind you. Nonetheless, this enables the wearer to use a multitude of Chozo-based weapons and upgrades that are capable of making the suit much better than it may have been originally. In fact, it even has the power to add more suit components onto its basic frame, in turn making it possible to adapt different suit types to improve its overall functionality. It is further noted that the suit itself is mainly a physical piece of equipment, and would not be the same if it were not for the software that helps to run the suit. The Chozo Power Suit possesses its own computer database that can act to maintain information on the suit's weapons, defensive attributes, movement upgrades, life support systems, which are extremely valuable surviving in the depths of space or in water, a heads-up display, and the ability to store numerous data files on the flora, fauna, and structure of other planets, with further data being gathered through the use of the scan visor. The suit is further able to hack into the data systems of other races to gather information and even interact with those of foreign languages through an equipped translator module, though there are some limitations on its abilities, as hacking-resistant technology and advanced script like the three-dimensional language of Luminoth are impenetrable without modifications, and there are some worlds that are so far beyond the knowledge of the Chozo that create the technology that they may not be known to the suit's databanks. Even so, this allows the wearer to communicate with others and even their ship readily, and ensure that they are never without some information to work with against an opponent in battle. Lastly, it is known that the suit is able to generate map layouts of an entire area using a thermal positioner to create a mini-map for an area, which can be extremely important not only exploring a location when external map data cannot be downloaded, but also for enabling the main interface module software of the suit to run a hint system, which provides the wearer with helpful hints towards what locations are worth examining next if they are lost, based upon information collected independently by the system on the overall energy readings of the larger environment as a whole.
Ah yes, the classic and original base armor suit uses a staple for Chozo warriors of all classes and times of war and strife, which could be any time, depending on the tribe that they belong to. Much that has already been said here also covers my own personal thoughts. The armor suit is a work of genius, not just in how it functions and its modular capacities, but especially in the way that it links the wearer to the suit right to the very flesh, bone, and mind. This is an incredibly unique way to go about building it, something that can not only be taken on and off in times of peace and strife, but also something that can never be stolen from an individual, always present within them at any and all times. It truly is a part of you when it is bonded, and while I don't know if I could ever have installed or made one for me to use, a man can dream, can he not?
The Zero Suit itself represents the lowest layer of the original Chozo Power Suit, but it is mentioned here under its own entry as its attributes are unique enough that can be distinguished between the full suit and the single layer. This is the default and lowest layer of the Chozo Power Suit, and the component that directly connects the suit both biologically and mentally to the wielder of a Chozo Power Suit. It normally is never present on its own, but in the case of the Hunter, its custom status allowed her to wield it on its own in emergency situations, where she either could not summon the full power of her armor suit, or use it as a suit that provided minor protection without any loss in flexibility in the user for more casual interactions with their environment. The Zero Suit is comprised of a durable but elastic polymer that can take damage when afflicted with energy-based shield like the Chozo Power Suit, but it is limited in that it does not have the capacity to utilize any of the upgrades that have been obtained for the suit through its modular capabilities. As such, the Zero Suit itself does not have any specialty weapons or anything else that can be directly connected to it, since those attributes are housed within the outermost layer of the Chozo Power Suit, in turn leaving the wearer effectively defenseless with only the suit, though the Hunter in particular often carried a paralyzed weapon with her when stuck in this form. With all the third layer of bulky armor on the body, the wearer of the suit can put to use any known acrobatic skills, including crawling and sliding along small tunnels that the wearer of the full armor suit otherwise would have to use the morph ball to get past. This also means that the wearer of the suit is usually able to move a bit faster without the bulk of the suit weighing them down, though this varies between users of the Zero Suit. Thankfully, if the wearer of the Zero Suit is able to recharge the energy reserves built into the suit, including the energy tanks whose energy supply is stored in the suit itself, it is possible to reactivate the full armor suit once more, though only if it hasn't been critically damaged beyond repair. The Zero Suit works on a similar level as the Power Suit, in that it can be materialized and dematerialized at the user's will, though in most cases the wearer will still choose to keep it on by default, as it does provide some form of protection thanks to its inherent energy shielding systems. In addition, it is noted that the Zero Suit itself acts as the unit responsible for materialization of the Power Suit. There is a trio of matter energy converters on the surface of the suit located on the wearer's back, chest, and hand, and when one needs to activate the Power Suit, the light on the wearer's back will flash once, and the sigil on the chest will glow, materializing the suit an instant later. As long as one has the Zero Suit, there is no way that the wearer can easily lose its associated Power Suit or any of the upgrades that came with it. As while the suit cannot wield the power of any upgrades the possessor had before being stripped down to this state, the data on how those upgrades work and function is stored as data within the Zero Suit as well, and thus can be transferred over to different suits if one is forcefully removed. However, even with this multi-layered approach to energy and data storage, the suit itself can be separated permanently from an armor suit if the critical components needed to mesh the Zero Suit with the two layers of a Chozo Power Suit are heavily damaged, severing links between the two and making it possible to recover the lost suit unless a new one can be applied and linked to the Zero Suit's wearer.
You know, I've always sort of wanted to try on something like this. The armor that we make for ourselves is normally quite good and really doesn't hamper us all that much. And technically, this would be even less protection than that, but I don't know. I guess I've just spent so much time analyzing the works of the Chozo and things of this nature that it's left me with an incredible desire to just be one with them someday. I know that's silly, but a man can dream, true? But yes, we were actually able to create something that was, well, at least similar enough, and it does seem to be, well, rather form-fitting. Overall, this might not exactly do much to help you out on its own, but since it's a part of the basic Chozo armor suit, you're usually better off relying on the full suit anyways. And sadly, this feels more like stable spandex to me, far better off in the hands of someone that can easily rock the look. Just like the Hunter.
The true origins of the legendary Chozo powered suit, or the fully powered suit as is also commonly referred to as, are not entirely clear, but it seems there was an ancient set of Chozo power armor that had been made thousands of years ago when the Chozo race was still known as a warrior species that sought to conquer as many worlds as they possibly could within the known galaxy. However, when the technology hit a genuine peak and laws of physics could not allow them to advance it any further in that context, they chose to turn away from the warrior ways and chose instead to focus on nurturing life in the galaxy to try and make peace with rising civilizations across the galaxy and even beyond. As a result of this, the most powerful of these armor suits were locked away in secret amongst the ruins of the lands they once called home. And in the case the Hunter said, it was obtained in a hidden room within the confines of Chozodia on Zebes. There, it was enthroned and made a part of a mural depicting the Chozo god of war, a spiritual entity of unknown origin or lore due to the destruction of most records by the space pirates, and was to only be gifted to those that not only proved through the ruins test that they had the skills to wield it properly, as well as the most ancient and powerful Chozo upgrades and weapons, but also for those that were deserving of it in blood, resulting in the Hunter becoming the only non-Chozo in recorded history to come into possession of a set of this powerful battle armor. Given that this Chozo armor suit effectively behaves identically to the basic Chozo power suit as far as the overall construction, minus the addition of orb-like projections at the shoulders used for advanced field attributes, any and all combat attributes worth noting about the suit itself are also considered to be identical to the basic Chozo power suit. The suit has all the same basic features of the basic Chozo power suit, and is thus effectively identical, but it does have two major differences in its field attributes that make it a suit of genuinely legendary power. First of all, as already noted, the shape of the suit is different, as it features a pair of enlarged shoulder pads that stick out wildly from the normal frame. Though these appear to be for show, tucked inside them is actually the second major feature that makes the legendary powered suit so appealing. As it turns out, this ancient model was sealed away and destined to only be placed in the possession of a person who is one with the Chozo, both in their combat and spiritual roots, and it is only through this suit that the wearer can properly interact with the oldest of Chozo weapons and upgrades. These attributes were removed from traditional Chozo power armor as the race moved to a more peaceful disposition and wished to leave the most dangerous of the weapons sealed away from those that would seek to use them against others for harmful deeds. As such, the suit's uniquely shaped shoulder pads contain advanced conversion modules that enable the suit to utilize and integrate weapons and upgrades not just of Chozo design, regardless of age, but also those made by other races that the Chozo came to know and interact with over the history across the cosmos. The structure and workings of these conversion modules are currently beyond replication by any major group in the cosmos outside the Chozo, but as the Hunter has proven, that might be for the best, as its modular aspect ensures that any sort of weapon or other suit modification can be equipped to her and used to her full discretion.
It continues to astonish me as to just how powerful and how far back the technology of the Chozo really does go. The power suit that most of us know about is one thing, but this armor is on an entirely different level, especially when it comes to its compatibility aspects. We strived in the past for so long to create something that was just like our own, but with this, the efforts ultimately proved to be fruitless. So much so, in fact, that we actually haven't been able to properly simulate it even with all the data and resources at our disposal here. But I take that not in the view as a failure on our part, but as to a symbol of the true power of the Chozo once wielded in the heat of combat. It is a tremendous loss for all that the last of these known suits was destroyed with SR-388, but at the very least, the Hunter has survived, and for the sake of the galaxy, that is most certainly a blessing.
The fusion suit is currently the suit that the Hunter has equipped as a result of her run-in with the monsters known as the X-Parasites. On a mission to SR-388, the Hunter was accidentally infected by an X-Parasite and was nearly killed when she fell into a coma in her ship, being automatically ejected just before the ship crashed into an asteroid and exploded. In her state, the reproducing X-Parasites had begun to infect the organic components of her suit, and with no other option, Galactic Federation doctors had to surgically remove the infected portions. Even then, she was given a limited chance of survival, but a vaccine made from the genetic remnants of the last Metroid, the infant she had rescued, was used on her and was able to clear her system of the parasites. This life-saving miracle came only because the Metroids were actually made for the purpose of clearing the planet of X-parasites. In an effort to make up for the damage that had been done to her suit in order to save her, the Galactic Federation took the flexible layer of armor that was once in the middle and built a new polymer-based suit on top of it, creating a fusion of Chozo and Galactic Federation technology aptly named the Fusion Suit. However, the name of the suit also brought a different and darker meaning to it, as the infection from the X-parasites had literally fused the suit to the Hunter's body, thus unifying flesh and machine completely into a single being. The fusion suit itself is an interesting design pattern that is worth mentioning briefly. The helmet of the suit seems to be more about appearance than function, but nonetheless possesses a flexible neck covering that can allow the Hunter to freely move her head around, large structures on the side that could filter the air to provide her breathable air at all times, and a pair of hoses that connect to reserve oxygen tanks needed for extremely dire circumstances. The overall shape of the helmet looks vaguely like an actual Metroid, which was probably designed as such as a symbol of the genetic connection the Hunter shares with the beast now. The flexible blue polymers used to construct the suit are free-moving and elastic enough to make it possible for the wearer to move around unhindered, but their thin nature limits the power of the energy shield that otherwise protect the entirety of the wearer's body, in turn weakening it and the wearer's overall resistance to damage substantially, even compared to a standard Chozo Power Suit. On the suit's back, there's a stylized data port that was originally used in data rooms to download weapon data from the Galactic Federation on board the BSL research station, with a trio of orbs that are arranged in the same fashion as the nuclei of a Metroid. The boots of the suit are equipped with anti-gravity shocks that can allow the wearer to jump extremely high into the air, especially if amplified with upgrades, and the suit's left arm is adorned with a series of spike-like projections that can be freely retracted at any time and have an appearance not unlike the mandibles possessed by Metroids, though the real purpose is still unspecified in the suit's base state. While the base form of the suit might have a notably damaged and even misshapen form to it, as a result of literally fusing to the Hunter initially and directly welding it into her body, it has been observed that the suit still has remarkable regenerative qualities, and that the semi-organic musculature and overall form can heal itself over time. Even the resulting new suit becomes increasingly organic relative to mechanical mass, and thus bonds with the wearer on a deeper genetic level the more it is allowed to regenerate itself naturally. While self-healing material is not exactly uncommon to find in a lot of advanced armor suits, the semi-organic nature of the suit enabled it to do this at a fully conscious level, molding itself to the wearer as it grew and healed in order to suit itself for the specific wearer present, making it even more personalized than the Hunter's power suit had ever been before. The fusion suit has proven to be a double-edged sword when it comes to combat, and was originally not even close to being on par with the standard Chozo Power Suit. On the positive side of the suit, however, it provided the wearer full flexibility in their movements, and thus enabled the wearer to climb up ladders and grab onto ledges without the need of technology to hoist themselves up. However, on that same note, the loss of the metallic shell on the outside weakens the suit's defenses considerably because it now literally becomes the outer skin of the wearer. In the case of the Hunter specifically, the use of the Metroid vaccine altered DNA so much that it made her vulnerable to the effects of cold, just like the titular organisms were, and in turn could not allow her to wield the ice beam without extensive alterations. The suit itself is still modular in its functions, but because of the way in which it was constructed, it originally could only accept artificial upgrades made by the Galactic Federation, downloaded in special data rooms that are oftentimes locked behind hatches on the BSL research station that required a certain level of clearance in order to get into. Thankfully for the Hunter though, the infusion of Metroid DNA in her body rendered her capable of absorbing stray X-parasites and using them to recover her own lost energy and weapon ammunition, though she did eventually need access to the very suit in order to absorb a mutant strain of blue X-parasites that adapted to the cold in Sector 6 of the station and had begun to radiate it from their bodies. Moreover, because of this power, she earned the ability to absorb large core X specimens in order to regain the many latent abilities that had been stripped from her suit during the initial surgery. The suit as a whole would eventually come to heal itself enough on its own to provide incredible maneuverability while still retaining the defensive strength of the former fully powered suit, bonding permanently with the Omega suit to give the Hunter the best of both worlds.
So, you know how I've been giving great praise towards the technology of the most basic of armor suits here so far? This is the part where the major advantages that are known to be present have come with some terrible downsides in this version of the Hunter's suit. On the one hand, it is true that we've done far worse things to the bodies of soldiers and other monsters in order to make more effective killing machines, but after getting the chance to try something similar to this armor in form and strength, the flexibility is nice, but the suit has almost nothing in the way of serious protection against damage, both physically and from energy-based attacks. The immense limitation also had originally when it came to modular upgrades was also a far cry from what it once could be, only initially accepting powers through actual data ports, otherwise absorbing X-parasites. I do not envy the pain the Hunter must have been in, for this suit to originally be her literal skin, and I can only dread what she must have felt with an entire station of monsters wanting her dead at the same time.
The Omega suit itself only existed for a very brief period of time and stands the fully powered version of the original fusion suit. This unique suit was only obtained by the Hunter as a consequence of absorbing a Corex that had been part of an SAX. The creature in question unintentionally came to the Hunter's rescue after she had been confronted and nearly killed by an Omega Metroid in her attempt to escape the BSL research station as was sent on a crash course towards SR-388. The Omega Metroid is able to defeat the Mimic with little trouble, but in absorbing it as a naked X-Parasite, it restored the Hunter to her true power that she once wielded at the end of her escape from Zebus and its destruction, bringing her back to the bounty hunter of legend once more. The Omega suit itself does not provide many serious advantages over the base fusion suit, but the few that it does bring are more than noteworthy. The infusion of Chozo DNA from the original fully powered suit helped to counter the mutations caused by the Metroid DNA that was embedded in the Hunter when she was vaccinated against the X-Parasites, and in turn allowed the suit to restore itself to a more functional state than ever before. This not only resulted in the Hunter's defensive attributes being restored to nearly full power as the suit would have provided in the past, plus without the bulk of the original armor, since the outermost semi-organic webbing hardened to a state of incredible resilience and elasticity, but also suppressed the genetic strength of the Metroid DNA inside the Hunter so much that allowed her to regain access to the power of the Ice Beam again, and the power to safely wield it as well, which she then used to kill the aforementioned Omega Metroid to escape this research station before it collided with SR-388 and destroyed it. Moreover, this final mutation allowed the Hunter's body to heal and detach fully from the suit on the inside, providing her original, mostly human body once more as the suit regained its ability to heal and mold itself on its own again. Given that this unique armor suit effectively behaves identically to the original fully powered suit, any and all few attributes worth noting about the suit itself are considered to be identical to the original fully powered suit.
A lot of the same sentiments I expressed here before on the fusion suit have thankfully been rectified with the addition of this temporary bit of increased power. Restoring the suit to its full defensive and genetic state was exactly what the Hunter needed in a time of great peril, and only gifted her due to a clone of herself seeing a fully grown Metroid as a much bigger threat than she was to it. Since the Omega suit essentially restored all of the systems to the base for a fully powered suit once more, but with the benefit of still making her immune to X-Parasite infection, most of what I said of the former can be applied here. The added benefit of her actually being able to separate from the suit when needed only makes this that much more of an advantage to her. And while the suit and its unique, yet familiar colors will eventually fade into something different as the suit repaired itself over time, it still must have been a hell of a sight and feeling for the Hunter to finally feel human once more. At least, mostly.
Thank you for attending this presentation on the experiment floor. Make sure that you keep your armor suits well maintained and cared for, and be wary if they start to grow on you. That's likely not intentional, and if it is, well, at least you might be able to enjoy a smoothie or two if they can fit a straw hole in your helmet. Thank you for reaching the end of this presentation. While we might not always get along, the Space Pirates and myself, in whatever capacity we can manage, are dedicated to analyzing and examining the life forms of many different worlds, extant and extinct, to show the great variety of life that exists out within the greater cosmos. If you enjoyed this info video and would like to see more, please like, comment, and subscribe for more information. We'll do our best to keep pumping out data so the greater public has an understanding of what to expect when exploring alien planets and their denizens. With that, have a safe journey, and have your bribes prepared beforehand if you happen to come near our territory.